Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we have a new release rumour for The Bad Batch Season 2, and we're also going to be talking about the return of Dexter Jettster. As always my dear friends, before we dive into it, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted every time that I post a new video. So without much further ado, and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we're going to talk about release dates and rumours in just a moment, but first of all my dear friends, we begin with an awesome tease for the return of a fan favourite character, Dexter Jettster. Mike Chen and Kirsten White, the authors of the upcoming prequels novels Brotherhood and Padawan respectively, have basically spilled the beans that their books contain, quote, some interesting backstory to Dexter Jettster, everyone's favourite Basilisk diner owner in Cocoa Town, Coruscant. Now, while these novels have nothing to do with the Kenobi series, taking place much earlier in the timeline, we have to wonder if there's something more than Mike Chen was teasing. Dex is a character who many fans want to see again, and perhaps Lucasfilm told these authors to include him in their upcoming books for the reason that we are going to see him in the Kenobi series. Lucasfilm do this kind of thing all the time, with timed material such as books and comics, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is another example of that, even if the books are not directly linked to the Kenobi series. But they're coming out in the same year, and I could definitely see that being a nice bit of fan service across multimedia. Now, during the Kenobi series, 10 years after the rise of the Empire, Dex's diner was still very popular and running. It wouldn't be until 4 ABY that it would become defunct, but during the Kenobi series, Dex is still active. As we saw in Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan went to Dex to identify the Kamino poison dart following the assassination attempt on Padme Amidala. Obi-Wan could seek out Dex again for help in the Kenobi series, and it's also worth mentioning that Dex continued his hobby of investigative work into the early Imperial era, and so he could provide Obi-Wan with some much needed intel. After all, the Kenobi concept art shows what looks to be Coruscant, or at least the lower levels of the planet. Since we know Obi-Wan is going to go off-world, he might sneak into the galaxy's capital, and there might be a reason for it. An old acquaintance might be of assistance. All of us who grew up on the Prequel Trilogy would love to see Dex again, although he would be a bit older. Now, there are also other reasons why we could see Dex in the Kenobi series. He has connections to other elements of canon which are currently being spoken about, notably the cyborg mod gangs we see in the Book of Boba Fett. In the early Imperial era, Dex travelled to Athos Glee to investigate an illegal cyborg mod gang very similar to the ones we see in the Book of Boba Fett. And even though these mod gangs are different, and the events of Kenobi take place much earlier in the timeline, if they're going to introduce cyborg mods into both series, then Dex could be an interesting connective point. And I say this because it's clear they are setting up some connections between both shows, for example Black Chrysanthemum's scar, which was caused by Kenobi, and also the Stormtrooper in the Sarlacc pit we could very well see fall in the Kenobi series. But independent of that, there are many other reasons we could see Dex in Kenobi. He was a much needed ally for Obi-Wan and could help him uncover mysteries across the galaxy. Just a fun theory, but if anything else, we are going to see Dex in these books. So now my dear friends, we have a new rumour for the release dates of The Bad Batch Season 2 and Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's been a bit confusing with release dates, especially for what's after the Book of Boba Fett, and Lucasfilm really need to clarify things soon. On the Marvel front, Disney have been on top of everything, but for Star Wars, it's been very murky. Now, as we spoke about the other day, the latest Disney insider revealed that The Bad Batch Season 2 is going to release in spring of this year. While they didn't state an explicit release date, this has gotten fans scratching their heads, wondering when we can expect the show, when Obi-Wan Kenobi is also set to release in the spring. The Bad Batch Season 2 being the longer of the two shows at 16 episodes, we might expect it to drop before Kenobi and for there to be some overlap. And according to a new rumour from LRM Online, that is exactly what they've heard. They say that it's very likely history is going to repeat itself, with the Bad Batch Season 2's opening episode once again dropping on May the 4th. They've heard that some Disney executives have been pushing for the Kenobi series premiere to be released later in the month, premiering at Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim between May the 26th and the 29th. According to this rumour, they want to take advantage of the large audience that weekend, and then a few days later drop it on Disney Plus at the start of June. Now, I think this is a bad idea, and it would make a lot more sense for them to release The Bad Batch sometime in March and Kenobi on May the 4th. That way, even if there is some overlap, which there probably will be anyway given the length of The Bad Batch, and the fact that Andor and possibly The Mandalorian Season 3 are also set for 2022, at least in that case, Kenobi's premiere date takes the Star Wars Day spot, and all fans can watch it at the same time without having had to be at Celebration. But the truth of the matter is, even though we have a vague release window, we have no clue when Lucasfilm is going to release anything. Spring 2022 is very vague, but right now it's looking like The Bad Batch is probably going to be before Kenobi. We know that they like to spread out the shows, so I wouldn't be too surprised if this new rumor is true, that we're going to have to wait until May to get our next Star Wars project after the Book of Boba. There are many outlets, leakers and scoopers also saying that there's going to be some overlap whether we like it or not. And to be honest, I can definitely see that being the case, and if The Bad Batch does start in May, it's going to run until August, and for 6 weeks in between then, we get Kenobi as well. And then in the financial fourth quarter, we get Andor, as was confirmed recently by Disney executive. And then Mando Season 3 comes this winter to wrap up the year. That is how I think things are going to play out if May the 4th is going to be saved for The Bad Batch. And the only way I can see The Bad Batch and Kenobi not overlapping is if The Bad Batch Season 2 is 8 episodes instead of 16, but that is very doubtful. It looks like they're going for 16 in both seasons. I'm super excited for all of the upcoming series, especially Kenobi, but also The Bad Batch Season 2, which has kind of been forgotten amongst all of the amazing live-action content that we're getting. But given how Season 1 ended, with Nala Se arriving on Mount Tantis, the stakes have clearly been raised for that second season. There's also the mystery of what happened to Crosshair and what's next for Clone Force 99. And so finally, my dear friends, Lucasfilm are doubling down on Star Wars, Indiana Jones and Willow, and are going to drop their other projects. Lucasfilm has gone all in on existing franchises, and The Hollywood Reporter has detailed how the Disney-owned studio decided to drop its adaptation of Children of Blood and Bone. The report revealed how the studio's head, Kathleen Kennedy, initially took an interest in the project when Disney bought Fox. Rick Famuyiwa of The Mandalorian was also attached as a director. However, the project stalled as Lucasfilm boss's attention turned to the growing Star Wars slate. And this is excellent news. The report went on to say that Lucasfilm is shifting away from all new projects and want to focus on its existing legacy, including Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow. Star Wars taking that priority spot. I think that's such a wise idea, focusing on those IPs that have such a legacy and all the fans behind them. Truly awesome stuff, so let me know your thoughts of this and everything else we spoke about in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and a massive welcome if you are, and why not consider becoming a patron? The link is down there in the description. You're missing out on so much fun. I have over 100 videos not found here on YouTube, and you also get access to our Discord server. But otherwise, my dear friends, I hope you're all having an amazing day. May the Force be with you all. I'm Star Wars Meg, and I'll see you in the next one.